Let's head to the Middle East now, where a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah that came into effect yesterday seems to be holding. Our Middle East correspondents Eric Torchek and Matthew Doran are in Lebanon and northern Israel, respectively, for us this morning. Good morning to both of you. First to you, Eric. Residents near the border with Israel are returning to assess the damage. What are they finding?
They're finding their homes, their farms, and a lot of the infrastructure has been really badly damaged by Israel's intense and protracted bombardment of those areas, Michael. There's been quite a lot of damage inflicted upon villages, particularly those closest to the blue line, where Hezbollah had a significant presence. There's also been a number of incidents that the Israeli military's confirmed. It says soldiers fired warning shots when they were approached by a group of Lebanese people. They also fired upon some vehicles they believed may have contained Hezbollah members, and they also took some men captive and questioned them at one point. But despite those incidents, the ceasefire does seem to be holding. Hezbollah says it's complying with the terms. It's going to cooperate with the deployment of the Lebanese armed forces in the south, and that overall is good news for those residents who've been heading back south from Beirut and other places, those displaced Lebanese who are desperate to return to their homes and farms. Here in Lebanon, there's a mix of feelings. I could still hear celebratory gunfire going on in the southern suburbs just a few minutes ago. But people who are going back to their houses are finding enormous damage. In many cases, they're absolutely devastated. They're bereft. They say their life savings, their life's work, it's all been for nothing. So a real mix of feelings is what we're experiencing: relief, fatigue, and here's how people described it to us.
There is no danger because the fighters and the weapons of the resistance are there and will remain on our land and return to our land.
What should I be celebrating? For me, the celebration will come when we take back Jerusalem.
So the question is, how well this holds. The Israeli military has said it will respond harshly to any breaches of the agreement by Hezbollah. They have remained in those villages. The ceasefire allows for a gradual withdrawal. So the hope is that, those terms will hold. They won't need to be enforced. Israel will be able to withdraw its troops, and then all of the internally displaced Lebanese will be able to go home and start the rebuilding process.
OK, Eric, over to you, Matthew. What's the latest on the Israeli side?
Well, while many people may be flooding back into southern Lebanon to try to see their homes, here in northern Israel, it is a very different picture. We are seeing very few people rushing back to the northern reaches of this country. They are being advised not to do so at this stage by the IDF, and indeed there are some areas of the country which are still locked off from civilians making their way in there, including towns such as Metula, which is on this very narrow patch of land that juts up north. It is surrounded at the north, the east and the west by Lebanon. So there is a sense of optimism and hope that these people may be able to go back to their homes. There are tens of thousands of them who have been displaced, and not as many as in Lebanon, but certainly enough for Benjamin Netanyahu to put their plight at the centre of his comments when he accepted this ceasefire deal last night. But there is also this caution that this ceasefire may not hold, and if people are going back in there straight away, they may then have to evacuate once more. It really is a mixed sense from the people that we have spoken to today while travelling around in northern Israel. Here are two examples of just how those views on returning differ.
I haven't decided yet. I'm just taken. I can say it's getting extremely difficult to stay in the hotel. Like we are fed up of living like this.
As far as I'm concerned, the minute I have the security, I'm going back home immediately. All I need is the power on and water. I understood that there was a problem with electricity and drinking water. So I hope it's all right.
Now, aside from that caution, the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has said that this ceasefire deal is a ray of hope for the broader Middle East region. And there are reports emerging this evening that an Egyptian delegation may be travelling to Israel in coming days to try to convince the Israeli government to agree to a ceasefire with Hamas in Gaza as well, hoping to seize upon this momentum that has been building, even though that is a very different conflict being fought under very different circumstances.